Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of the 6th of May. Members of the public gallery should note the Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also published and archived on Council's website for viewing by the public. Recordings may be used for publicity or information purposes. Members of the public in attendance at the Council meeting who wish to communicate with the Council regarding an agenda item or any other matter should advise the Mayor, ideally prior to the meeting starting, to ensure that their submission is called at the appropriate time during the meeting. Would gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our officers located in the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and acknowledge their ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to the land and waters. We do not have any apologies, CEO. Everyone's here. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest, councillors? We then move on to item 3, the confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting. Thank you, Councillor Fote.
I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary council meeting of Tuesday, 15th of April 2025.
Second to Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed is carried. Did you wish to speak, Councillor Fote? No. Thank you. Item 4, business arising from previous meetings. There is none. We have had no late or urgent items put forward, nor have we had any notices of motion. Receiving of petitions or joint letters. We do have an outstanding petition that is being dealt with at item 13.1 of this agenda, which we'll deal with at that point. And there are no other petitions being received, CEO. Thank you. We move then on to item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Councillors, do we have any of those? Councillor Madeley.
Thank you, Mayor. As we all know, Anzac Day was commemorated on the 25th of April. It is one of the most significant days in our national calendar, a time to honour the brave men and women who served and sacrificed for our country, particularly those who served in World War I. It's a day of remembrance and reflection. This year I had the privilege of attending the dawn service in Sale and the Sea Spray Anzac Day service, both of which were deeply moving. These services were a wonderful opportunity to come together with the community to pay our respects to the Anzacs and reflect on the enduring spirit of mateship and sacrifice. In addition, several of my fellow councillors attended Anzac Day services in other parts of the Shire, including Heyfield, Maffra, Gormandale, Rosedale, Stratford, Port Albert, Yarram, Golden Beach and Merloo. These services across our communities show just how important Anzac Day is to our region, with people of all ages coming together to remember and honour our veterans. Additionally, Sale also hosted a War Graves service and the Anzac Day March. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone involved in organising these services, our local RSLs, volunteers and community groups. Their efforts ensure that the Anzac spirit continues to live on in every part of our Shire. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and the numbers seem to keep increasing for all of those events. I was in the march at Sale and out at Merloo for the dawn service and at the War Graves service as well, and they are attended beautifully by all age groups as well. Yeah. Thank you. Any other? Thank you, Councillor Fote.
I'd like to just extend a sincere thanks to Isabel, Clinton and Simon for hosting us on our tour of the Longford gas plant last Tuesday, the 29th of April. The opportunity to see the operations firsthand and gain a clearer understanding of the plant's role in Australia's energy landscape was really appreciated by all the fellow councillors that attended. The insights into the technical, environmental and operational aspects of the site helped broaden our perspective significantly. In particular, I know I really appreciated the discussion about the planned decommissioning to begin in 2027. Understanding the timeline, the regulatory frameworks and long-term planning involved. It gave us a greater appreciation for the complexity and importance of this transition. It's clear that thoughtful consideration is being given to environmental stewardship, workforce planning and community engagement through this process. Also on that day, I had the privilege of attending as well as the Mayor and a few other councillors, the citizenship ceremony. Now, that afternoon, it was a really special occasion, and we proudly welcomed 36 new Australian citizens from 12 different countries at our ceremony that was held at the Wedge. Now, it was led by Mayor Scott Rossetti, the ceremony being a moving one and a reminder of the strength and richness that diversity brings to our community. So, to our new citizens, we warmly welcome you and wish you every success, happiness and adventure as you begin this exciting new chapter in your lives.
Terrific. Thank you, Councillor Fote. And it was a terrific ceremony and a great occasion. Any other councillors? Councillor Stevens.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I had the pleasure of attending the Terra Festival, which is held in Yarram and Port Albert over Easter. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Madeley and Councillor Ripper were both there for various parts of the event. Look, I'd just like to congratulate the Terra Festival Committee for the work they did in coordinating the festival, particularly the event on Good Friday in the Yarram Memorial Gardens, and also the procession, the street procession on Easter Saturday. I must admit that I didn't think that the street procession would ever come back after it stopped after 2019. It was obviously killed by COVID, along with a lot of other things in the community, and they did an outstanding job. The procession was really, really excellent. The community got behind them, and it was a really great morning. The weather was very kind. The original forecast for Easter wasn't very pleasant at all, but apart from a few drops of rain at Port Albert on the Sunday afternoon, all the events, Good Friday, Easter Saturday, the Port Albert Progress event on Easter Sunday afternoon, the Lions Club Market, and the Rotary Club Art Show was in the Regent Theatre, so it didn't really worry about the weather at all. But all those community groups did a tremendous job, and I'd just like to particularly thank Sarah Jansen, who's the President, Holly Johnson was the Secretary, and Ian Hawkins, the Treasurer, for the leadership they showed in running the Terra Festival. And it was great to see Councillor Madeley and Councillor Ripper in attendance as well, and they might like to add some more pertinent comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I'll just reiterate what Gary said. I took my whole family, so I had my boys, and they've never seen a street parade before, so it was fantastic to be able to watch them enjoying that. Just great to see all the community groups involved in the parade, and the whole main street of Yarram was closed. It was just really fun, and probably the highlight of my Easter weekend, and we're already making plans to go back again next year. So. And dragging other people with us as well, because it was just so good for kids and families. It was a great day.
Yeah, certainly Moomba's got nothing on Terra Festival. We just need Councillor Stevens nominated as the king of the Terra Festival. That'd be good for next year. Councillor Ripper.
Mayor, thanks Councillor Stevens. I had 4 nights in Yarram, and there was that much on, and I didn't see a third of what was on. I extended my stay by 1 night. It was just fantastic, and the lantern parade at Port Albert on the Sunday night was a highlight for myself, and my Labrador certainly enjoyed keeping an eye on the lanterns. So thank you. And
That's done. Okay, thank you.
And Mayor, I just forgot one thing. I was just going to add that your assistance in providing the Smile You're in Yarram badges was really welcome too. So thank you for that. So get yours. I don't know if we've got any left. I think we had a couple of thousand. They're all gone, I think. So thanks, Mayor.
I'm glad they put a smile on someone's face. Did you have something to finish with there, Councillor Ripper?
Thank you, Mayor. I was pleased and a bit of mixed feelings to attend a Little Bites, a domestic violence roadmap to safety and peace by Bobbin Aspland at Lock Sport on Monday. I commend this book to those who may want to find out more about domestic violence in the area. And to follow on from that, the Wellington Shire supports, and part of our council plan is domestic violence. And I'll just show you a T-shirt that you'll see tomorrow night at a candlelight vigil, which is taking place at 5:30, that's Wednesday the 7th, tomorrow night, at the Sale Clock Tower. In 2024, Wellington recorded 1,484 calls to police for family violence, a 14% increase. Gippsland saw 17% rise in serious assaults related to family violence. So let's come together to remember those we've lost, support those affected, and commit to ending family violence in our communities. You're encouraged to bring a candle, torch or phone light to take part in this moment of reflection. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper, and I certainly encourage people to head along tomorrow night. I believe the clock tower is being bathed in purple light as part of that event. It's one of the things that we don't want to be leaders in terms of violent statistics, but unfortunately we're right up there. So the more work we can do to eradicate that violence, the better. Any other invited address presentations or acknowledgements, councillors? Thank you. Questions on notice, we have none. Delegates reports. So then we move on to item 11.1, the Victorian Electoral Commission report on the 2024 Wellington Shire Council election. Thank you. Councillor Lowe.
I move that the Council receive and note the report as per attachment 11.1.1, Election Report Wellington Shire Council 2024 Local Government Elections, prepared by the Victorian Electoral Commission.
Seconded, Councillor Bannerman. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Councillor Lowe.
This is a report from the Victorian Electoral Commission on how the election went, and I'll just say some of the figures we've got here. So we had Central Ward, we had 4 nominations. Coastal Ward, we had 6 nominations. Northern Ward, we had 6 nominations, and 3 were elected out of each. The Wellington Shire Council had a reasonable turnout, which was 81.63% of the population voted. It's just below the state average, which was 83.79%. But it seemed to be a pretty good turnout after all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. We move then on to item 12.1, the Assembly of Councillors report. Thank you, Councillor Bannerman.
I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period of 7th of April 2025 to the 27th of April 2025.
Seconded, Councillor Madeley. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed is carried. Did you wish to speak, Councillor Bannerman?
Just noting, I guess, some of the events that have already been noted that we've all been attending. Been quite a busy bunch, and it's really great to get out in the community and be able to meet so many different people in different contexts.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Bannerman. Move on to item 12.2, to resolve to advertise a draft budget. Thank you, Councillor Madeley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council advertise its draft 2025-26 budget as attached, including fees and charges and multi-year capital projects, in accordance with Section 96 of the Local Government Act 2020. And 2, Council consider submissions for the draft 2025-26 budget at an unscheduled Council meeting on Tuesday 27th of May 2025 at 5 p.m. And 3, Council meet on Tuesday 17th of June 2025 at 5 p.m. to consider the formal adoption of the 2025-26 budget. And I'll take points for...
The rest is read.
The rest is read, thank you. Otherwise we will be here all night.
Seconded, Councillor Lowe. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed is carried. Thanks,
Thank
Deputy
you. Tonight we are pleased to present the Wellington Shire Council's draft 2025-26 budget for public exhibition. This is the result of several detailed workshops held earlier this year where councillors worked alongside officers to carefully consider service levels, capital projects and operational costs, all while staying within the state government's 3% rate cap. This budget reflects a considered balance between maintaining essential services, investing in local infrastructure, and managing the financial challenges that many councils across Victoria are currently facing, including rising costs and reduced external funding. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank our council officers for the significant time, expertise and care they have put into preparing this document. It's a huge undertaking and their work helps ensure we deliver value for money to our community. Importantly, this draft is now open for public feedback. It's a great opportunity for our residents to help shape the final budget, and I encourage everyone to get involved and have their say before we adopt the final version in June. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mabley. We move then on to 12.3, the intention to display the draft revenue and rating plan 2025-29. Thank you, Councillor Foat.
I move that Council undertake a community engagement process for the draft revenue and rating plan 2025 to 29 as attached for the period 7th of May 2025 to the 4th of June 2025.
Seconded, Councillor Lowe, by a short whisker. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed is carried. Did you wish to speak, Councillor?
Yeah, I just wanted to say the revenue and rating plan establishes the revenue raising framework within which the council proposes to work. Now, the plan details the most appropriate and affordable revenue and rating approaches, which, in conjunction with other income sources, will help finance our council plan objectives and ensure long-term financial sustainability. Now, there is an option here that the community engagement process utilised for the draft revenue and rating plan 2025 to 29 will be facilitated on Council's online community engagement and community tool, Your Wellington, Your Say. This is allowing interested individuals to provide their feedback on the draft. So after that particular time, after the community engagement and any community feedback will be provided to Council for consideration with a recommendation for formal adoption. So if you want to have a say or have anything, then I guess get online and put forward your feedback.
Thank you, Councillor Foat. We move then on to 13.1, the response to the petition man's beats. We've got a motion there, councillors. Someone's got to...
I'll do it.
Councillor Lowe.
I move that the council authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to write to the head petitioner advising that council will commence engagement with property owners on Fisher Street, White Street, David Street and Fry Street, Manns Beach to progress a street upgrade project through a special charge scheme in line with the council's residential road and street construction plan.
Seconded, Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed is carried. You can both speak to it if you like. You're arm wrestling for the motion.
Yes, I'll just make a brief comment. So this resolution, as you referred to previously, comes from a petition that was sent to council a couple of meetings ago, and of course, in line with our standard procedure, we respond. I think 2 meetings later. This it would be a really good program. I note that Councillor Tatterson, in his former life, was the architect of our current special charge scheme, which basically is of great benefit to residential property owners, and we've managed to complete several schemes since the new program was introduced. So it must be about 5 or 6 years ago, is it, Councillor Tatterson? I hope that we can get support. Councils will be aware that the special charge scheme programs do need at least 60% positive response from abutting landowners to proceed. So I certainly would commend to any landowners that they support this program, because they're never going to get their streets constructed cheaper than through our current policy. Mayor?
That's correct. Thanks, Councillor Stevens. And it's correct, these special charge schemes are essentially having people who benefit directly from them contributing to the upgrade of the streets or the infrastructure outside. But they are typically heavily subsidised by often the roads to recovery money from the federal government, but also rates as well, to be able to get to a great outcome. But as you say, it's only done when you get a high enough percentage of the people in the scheme area saying yes. So hopefully people say yes and we get a good outcome there. Did you wish to speak as well, Councillor? No, thank you. Then we move on to item 14.1, which is the Amendment C113, corrections, removal of public acquisition overlay in Rosedale and Heyfield. Councillor Bannerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council support the removal of the public acquisition overlay, Schedule 2 PA02, applied to land in part at properties adjacent to the commercial area on Prince Street, Rosedale, and properties between McFarlane Street, Temple Street and Pearson Street, Heyfield, from the Wellington planning scheme on the basis that they are redundant and therefore no longer required for their originally intended purpose. Please refer to attachments 14.1.1 Rosedale maps and 14.1.2 Heyfield maps.
Seconded, Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Did you wish to speak, Councillor Bannerman?
Thank you, Mayor. So the provisions in the Wellington planning scheme do allow for land to be reserved for future public purposes. When land is identified for potential compulsory acquisition for a public use, through the planning scheme maps, and more particularly through the application of a public acquisition overlay, the objectives of doing that include to reserve land for a public purpose and to ensure that changes to the use and development of land do not prejudice the purpose for which the land is to be acquired. The public acquisition overlay currently applies to land in part in both Rosedale and Heyfield for the purpose of a road, so behind the shops there. The original intent of said PA02 in Rosedale was to facilitate rear truck or car access to the commercial area fronting Prince Street, on Main Street there, and in 2012 the Rosedale Structure Plan acknowledged the status of the subject land, noting that most of the impacted properties could not accommodate laneways and that council should investigate the removal of the overlay. Over time, it has been determined that the laneways are no longer required, with the width of land reserved not actually being sufficient to accommodate trucks anyway, and the additional provision of loading bays on Prince Street on the highway consequently alleviating the need for rear access. Similarly to Rosedale, the original intent of the overlays in Heyfield was to provide rear access to commercial properties facing Temple Street in a similar manner to that on the western side of Temple Street and the eastern side of Pearson Street. The access was intended to provide for loading and unloading of trucks. However, the acquisition of this land never eventuated, nor is it planned to occur, and therefore the PA02 is considered redundant. So basically, Council has looked carefully at what we're sort of holding on to in reserve as a legal recourse and has taken the decision to, after due process, to return full options to the landowners without any restrictions on it, minimising governmental interference as much as we can.
Thank you, Councillor Bannerman. We move now on to item 15, further gallery and online comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the gallery who may wish to speak to address council to come forward. Please state your name and let us know what you'd like to have to talk about.
Thank you, Mayor, and yeah, nice to see everyone tonight. I'm Veronica Barnes from Rosedale, ratepayer, and I just wanted to make Council aware of a fall that I had at the Memorial Hall last week, and just to make me aware that something needs to be done about the footpath at the Memorial Hall. And I was handing out how to vote cards last Tuesday, and but I've since found out that, thanks to Chris, I've since found out that it's not really your jurisdiction. So, but what I'll do is, after the meeting, I will get someone to help me send an email with the photos of the area. Once I had the fall, some witches' hats were put down, so alerting people of the hazard. But I believe that, some correspondence will be able to rectify the matter. So thank you.
Thank you, Veronica, and thank you for letting us know, and we'll certainly put you in touch with the people who run the trust that runs the Memorial Hall. But I know that, like all of us, it's often just you want people to be able to be aware of issues to then take appropriate action. So thank you for taking the time to let us know. Anyone else in the gallery that'd like to speak? Any online?
None.
No, then I'd look for a motion to move us into closed session. Thank you, Councillor Fote.
I move that the meeting be closed to the public to consider confidential information pursuant to section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 and defined in section 3(1) as involving private commercial information which, if released, would unreasonably expose current business, commercial or financial undertakings to disadvantage and personal information, being information which, if released, would result in the unreasonable disclosure of information about any person or their personal affairs. And 2, on the grounds for designation under section 3(1)(g) II have been made as information is deemed confidential to protect the commercial negotiations and for other personal items pertaining to councillors.
Seconded by Councillor Madeley. You need to be an English teacher to go through all that. Seconded Councillor Madeley. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Thank you.